Doctor reveals, avoid these 3 healthy fruits that are quietly killing your erections. If you're a man over 50, have you ever had one of those days? The kind where your mind is ready and willing, but your body just doesn't seem to get the message. It's a quiet frustration, a private worry that your strength, your vitality, is slipping away. Now, most men I talk to in my practice chalk it up to one thing: getting older. They believe it's an unavoidable part of the journey. But what if I told you that one of the biggest factors impacting your circulation and masculine vitality isn't your age at all? What if it's sitting right there in your fruit bowl? This isn't just a guess. In fact, a landmark study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, which followed over 50,000 men, found that those who regularly consumed specific fruit compounds had a staggering 14% lower risk of performance issues. 14%. That's not a small number. I saw this firsthand with a patient of mine, Robert, a 68-year-old retired firefighter, doing everything right, but still felt drained. We made a few simple swaps in his diet, the very ones I'm about to share with you. A few months later, he told me he felt a decade younger. Hello, I'm Dr. Audrey Wells, and in the next few minutes, I am going to show you the 3 powerful fruits from your grocery store that can help fortify a man's erection, and the 3 so-called healthy fruits that could be quietly sabotaging your efforts. If any of this sounds familiar to you, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because you are going to want to hear what comes next. All right, let's dive into the first section of our list, the allies. These are the fruits that work with your body, and we'll begin with our first fruit ally. It's a classic you already know and love, watermelon. Now, here is the critical mistake that so many men make. They see watermelon and they think it's just sugar and water, a simple treat with no real health benefits. Some men I've spoken to even avoid it, fearing it might be unhealthy. That assumption is simply not true. In fact, it's causing them to miss out on one of nature's most powerful tools for men's circulation. So, why is watermelon so effective? The real science lies in something most people have never heard of, an amino acid called L-citrulline. Watermelon is one of the richest natural sources of it on the planet. When you eat watermelon, your body, specifically your kidneys, gets to work converting that L-citrulline into another important amino acid, L-arginine. And L-arginine is the direct precursor, the raw building block, for a true miracle molecule in the male body called nitric oxide. And this isn't just a theory. Research from Texas A&M University, published years ago, demonstrated this powerful effect so clearly that some researchers have even dubbed watermelon nature's performance enhancer. Nitric oxide is the chemical messenger that tells your blood vessels to relax, to open up, to widen. This is the absolute physical requirement for a firm, reliable erection. Without sufficient nitric oxide, it is physically impossible. To put it simply, think of nitric oxide as the open sign on the door of your blood vessels. When there's plenty of it, the sign flips to open. The doors swing wide, and blood can flow powerfully and freely to exactly where you need it most. When nitric oxide is low, that door stays shut. So how do you incorporate this into your life correctly and safely? It's remarkably simple. You don't need to eat the whole watermelon, a serving of about 2 cups, just a few fresh slices. In the afternoon or evening is a perfect starting point. The key is not the quantity in one sitting, but the consistency over time. This brings me back to Robert, the retired firefighter I mentioned earlier. This was the very first change we made. He started having a small bowl of fresh watermelon every evening while he watched the news. He later told me it was the easiest, most enjoyable change he'd ever made for his health, and he discovered a great synergy on his own. On warm days, he would blend it into a juice. Not only was it refreshing, but it's also incredibly hydrating. Proper hydration is another key factor that supports healthy circulation. It's a simple tweak, But for Robert, it made a world of difference. And it could for you, too. Next up on our list of allies are the tiny but truly mighty blueberries. Now, the mistake here is a common one. Men often underestimate these little berries. They get caught up in the hype of some expensive, exotic superfood powder from a faraway land, thinking the solution has to be complicated. But the truth is, one of the most powerful foods for protecting your circulation is sitting right there in the freezer aisle of your local grocery store for just a few dollars. Ignoring it is a missed opportunity. So, what is the science here? Why are blueberries so effective for men's health? It all comes down to a special class of powerful antioxidants called anthocyanins. These are the natural compounds that give blueberries their deep, rich color, and they do something remarkable inside your body. They directly protect the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, a layer called the endothelium. This lining is incredibly sensitive to damage from inflammation and oxidative stress, which builds up over the years. And this isn't just a theory. A major long-term study out of Harvard University, published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, followed tens of thousands of men for years. The researchers found a clear and direct link. Men who had the highest intake of these specific flavonoids, the ones abundant in berries, had a significantly and notably lower risk of erectile difficulties compared to those who ate very few. This provides powerful evidence that what you eat directly impacts your circulatory health. Here's a simple analogy. Imagine your blood vessels are like brand new garden hoses. When you're young, they're flexible and smooth on the inside. But over decades of use, they can become stiff, brittle, and even develop tiny cracks. The anthocyanins in blueberries act like a specialized repair crew for those hoses. They go in, patch up the damage, reduce inflammation, and help restore the flexibility that allows blood to flow smoothly and powerfully. So, how do you put this into practice? It could not be easier. A single handful a day is a fantastic goal. You can toss them into your morning oatmeal, stir them into some plain Greek yogurt, or blend them into a protein smoothie. And please do not worry about whether they are fresh or frozen. Frozen blueberries are picked at peak ripeness and flash frozen, locking in all those powerful nutrients. They are just as good as fresh and often much more affordable. If you're starting to see how simple and accessible these solutions can be, do me a favor and type the word powerful in the comments below. It helps me know that this information is hitting home for you. Our third and final ally in the fruit aisle is the pomegranate. Now, the most common mistake I see with pomegranates is simple avoidance. Many men are intimidated by the fruit itself. It looks strange and seems like a lot of work to eat, so they just walk right past it in the produce section. But the biggest mistake of all is ignoring its juice form, which is incredibly potent and easy to consume. By skipping it, they are missing out on a fruit with a truly unique two-pronged benefit for men's health. So why is pomegranate so special? It's because it's what I call a double threat. First, just like watermelon, its powerful antioxidants help to boost your body's production of nitric oxide, which we now know is essential for healthy blood flow. But it doesn't stop there. Pomegranate does something else. Its unique profile of antioxidants has been shown to help protect the body's testosterone-producing cells from something called oxidative stress. This is critical for a man's drive, his energy, and his overall sense of well-being. And the science on this is quite compelling. A notable study published back in 2012 in the International Journal of Impotence Research looked at this directly. It was a placebo-controlled trial, the gold standard. The researchers found that the men who drank a daily glass of pomegranate juice showed a statistically significant improvement in their erectile performance compared to the men who drank a placebo. It's clear evidence of a real, physical effect. To help you understand the second benefit, think of oxidative stress as a kind of cellular rust. Over the decades, this rust can slowly build up and start to damage the delicate machinery inside your cells. The cells that produce testosterone are particularly vulnerable to this rust. The powerful antioxidants in pomegranate act like a potent rust proofer. They help to neutralize that damaging rust, protecting the sensitive machinery that is so vital for your masculine energy. So how do you use this information? You can absolutely eat the seeds, which are called arils. They're great on salads or in yogurt. But by far the easiest and most efficient way is to drink the juice. I recommend a small 4-ounce glass of 100% pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice each day. You must check the label. Make sure it says 100% juice and not cocktail or drink, which are often loaded with added sugar. I often recommend this to my male patients who come to me concerned with both low energy and circulation issues. The synergy here is the key. It's a perfect combination. Pomegranate supports healthy blood flow, and it also helps protect the very hormone that fuels the desire for that blood flow in the first place. All right, now that we've covered our allies, it's time to talk about the other side of the coin, the fruits you need to be cautious with. Let's move on to the section I call the saboteurs. Okay, let's talk about the first fruit you need to be mindful of. Our first saboteur, grapes. Now, the mistake here is incredibly common. It's the belief that because grapes are a fruit, can eat an entire bowl of them without any consequence at all. Many of my patients treat them as a free snack, something they can mindlessly eat while watching television, thinking they're making a healthy choice. Unfortunately, when it comes to a man's hormonal health, this habit can quietly work against you. So what's the scientific reason for this? It's simple. Grapes are very, very high in sugar. And when you eat a large amount of them quickly, your body gets hit with a massive sugar load. This causes your pancreas to release a flood of the hormone insulin to manage it all. A small spike is normal. But chronic repeated insulin spikes, day after day, are damaging. They're scientifically proven to harm the delicate lining of your blood vessels, and just as importantly, they can significantly lower your testosterone levels. It's a devastating double whammy against a man's erectile health. And this is not speculation. Countless studies in the world of endocrinology have established a clear, undeniable link between insulin resistance, which is caused by these repeated sugar spikes, and lower levels of free testosterone in men. Chronically high insulin is one of the fastest ways to sabotage your body's natural hormone balance. To give you a clear analogy, think of eating a big bowl of grapes like a flash flood of sugar suddenly hitting your system. In response, your body has no choice but to release a tidal wave of insulin to try and control the flood. And in the chaos of that hormonal wave, your own testosterone balance gets washed out and suppressed in the process. So what is the right way to approach this? It's not about fear, it's about moderation. You can absolutely enjoy grapes. But the key is the portion size. A small handful, roughly 10 to 15 grapes, is perfectly fine as a treat. The danger comes from the giant bottomless bowl. That is what you must avoid. I had a patient, David, a 62-year-old accountant who was doing everything else right but still struggling with low energy and performance issues. We went through his diet piece by piece. It turned out his nightly healthy snack was a huge bowl of red grapes. It was the hidden culprit. We swapped that single habit, replacing the grapes with a small handful of blueberries and walnuts. Within a month, he reported that his afternoon energy crashes had vanished, and he felt a remarkable improvement in his vitality. It was that one simple change. That is the power of understanding this. All right, the second fruit to be cautious with might surprise you. It's the banana. Now, the mistake here is one born from decades of good marketing. We've been told our entire lives that bananas are the ultimate health food, a perfect source of energy and potassium. And because of this health halo, many men rely on them as a daily, high-volume staple. The most common mistake I see is blending 2 or even 3 bananas into a morning smoothie, thinking it's the healthiest possible start to the day. Unfortunately, this habit can create the exact opposite effect of what you're looking for. So, what is the science? Why could this be a problem? Well, while bananas do contain potassium, which is good for heart health, they are also very high in sugar and rank high on the glycemic index. This means they can raise your blood sugar very quickly. When you blend 2 or 3 bananas, you are concentrating all of that sugar and removing much of the digestive work. This creates a veritable sugar bomb that can spike your insulin just as dramatically and just as damagingly as drinking a can of soda. And the scientific proof for this mechanism is undeniable. As we discussed with grapes, the medical literature is absolutely clear on the negative link between frequent, high glycemic meals, the resulting insulin spikes, and their detrimental impact on both a man's testosterone levels and his overall vascular health. Every large insulin spike is a stressor on the system, and your hormonal balance pays the price. Here's a simple analogy to make this crystal clear. Think of eating a single, whole banana, like swallowing a slow-release fuel capsule. Its fiber helps to moderate the release of sugar into your bloodstream. It's a gentle process. A smoothie made with multiple blended bananas, on the other hand, is like pouring pure rocket fuel directly into the engine. It's too much, too fast. It creates a surge of energy, followed by a hard crash, and a wave of hormonal disruption. So how should you approach bananas? Let me be clear. Bananas are not the enemy. The problem is the dose and the frequency. An occasional banana, perhaps once or twice a week, is perfectly fine for most men. But if you're having 1 or more every single day, especially in a smoothie, I would strongly encourage you to reconsider. And a powerful tip is to never eat a banana on an empty stomach. Always have it with a source of protein or healthy fat, like nuts or yogurt, to slow down that sugar absorption. Were you surprised to see bananas on this list of saboteurs? If you were, let me know by commenting the word "surprise" down below. It really helps me understand which topics are the most valuable for you. And finally, let's talk about our third saboteur. We need to discuss oranges. But more specifically, we need to talk about orange juice. Now, the mistake here is classic. It's a habit baked into the American breakfast for over 50 years. It's starting every single day with a big glass of orange juice, believing that you're doing your body a huge favor by getting a healthy dose of vitamin C. I have had countless male patients who are meticulously careful with their diet, but they never once question their daily glass of OJ, and that is where the problem lies. So, why is this a potential issue? The science is very clear on this. When you eat a whole orange, you're getting sugar, yes, but it's packaged with fiber. The fiber slows down the absorption, but when you drink juice, you are getting all the concentrated sugar of 4 or 5 oranges with absolutely none of the fiber to buffer it. This sends a direct main line of fructose, fruit sugar, straight to your liver. This can cause inflammation and, you guessed it, a huge and rapid insulin spike. It's one of the most common hidden sources of sugar in the modern diet, and we have powerful scientific evidence to back this up. A very large study published in the prestigious British Medical Journal looked at the fruit consumption habits of over 180,000 people. Their findings were unambiguous. They found that a higher consumption of whole fruits was significantly associated with a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. However, a higher consumption of fruit juice was associated with a significantly higher risk. This points directly to the damaging metabolic effects of drinking liquid sugar. To give you a simple analogy, think of it this way. Eating a whole orange is like your blood sugar walking up a gentle, grassy hill. The fiber acts as a guide, ensuring a slow and steady climb. Drinking a glass of orange juice, however, is like your blood sugar falling off a cliff. There's no fiber to slow the descent. It's a sudden, jarring shock to your system. So, what is the practical advice here? It is incredibly simple. Eat the orange. Ditch the juice. If you are thirsty in the morning and want a healthy drink alongside your breakfast, have a glass of water or perhaps some green tea. Making this one change removes a massive and unnecessary sugar load from your daily routine. In my practice, This is often the single most impactful change I recommend for my male patients who are dealing with prediabetes or have any concerns at all about their metabolic health and belly fat. For many of them, the simple act of swapping their daily morning juice for a glass of water has been enough to completely transform their body's insulin sensitivity and energy levels throughout the day. It is that powerful. So, to quickly bring everything together, we've learned today that you should reach for watermelon, blueberries, and pomegranate to support your circulation and nitric oxide production. And at the same time, be mindful of large portions of grapes, bananas, and especially orange juice to help protect your delicate hormonal balance. But as I always say, knowledge without action is just entertainment. So here is your simple prescription for this week. It's just 3 steps. First, I want you to pick only one of the ally fruits we talked about, just one, and add it to your grocery list for this week. Second, be honest with yourself and identify if you're overdoing one of the saboteur fruits. If you are, your goal for this week is simply to cut that portion in half. And third, if you drink juice in the morning, I want you to swap just 1 glass of juice for a glass of water. That's it. That's the plan. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Dr. Wells, is it really that simple? Or, I'm over 60. Is this really going to make a difference for me? And my answer to you is yes. Your body has an incredible, innate capacity to respond and to heal. Real, lasting change never comes from a giant, overwhelming leap. It comes from the small, consistent choices that you repeat over time. Trust the process. And remember why we're doing this. This isn't just about erectile strength. This is about having the vitality to get on the floor and play with your grandkids. It's about having the energy to travel with your spouse. It is about having the strength to remain independent and self-reliant for all the years to come. Your health is your freedom. If you're ready to take control, I invite you to subscribe to this channel for more practical, science-backed advice just like this, and to make a public commitment to yourself. Go to the comments section right now and type the words, Day 1. Let's start this journey together. Thank you for investing your valuable time with me today. In my next video, we're going to discuss the 1 common pantry oil that could be secretly wrecking your joints. You will not want to miss that one. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells. Stay strong, stay informed, and know that your best years can absolutely still be ahead of you.